Even though the year is far from over, scientists have already made a number of noteworthy discoveries that offer a wealth of debate points, whether on Earth or in the vast reaches of space. In actuality, some new discoveries highlight our past mistakes rather than contributing to a substantial increase in our understanding of a particular field. How, after all, could scientists have discovered a structure in space at the start of 2024 that, from everything we know, shouldn't be there at all? On the other side, new scientific advancements are sparking intense ethical discussions and raising the possibility that the first human clone will be created in the near future. The conventional cosmological model states that matter is dispersed rather evenly throughout the universe. Nevertheless, the existence of enormous formations like galaxy clusters, superclusters, or the so-called Great Wall is undeniable. However, it is true that, on a vast scale, the density, temperature, and radiation of galaxies are comparable throughout all regions of the sky at least. That is the theory. Experts have discovered time and time again that our models just don't always reflect reality. The giant arc, a massive arc of galaxies and galaxy clusters that is 3.3 billion light-years long and far larger than it should be, was the first riddle that scientists solved in this area in 2021. In keeping with the adage, an impossible giant structure rarely comes alone, a team from the University of Central Lancashire, led by Alexia Lopez, found a second XXL structure at the start of this year that is hard to explain with modern models. Similar to the giant arc, its equally perplexing counterpart was discovered through the light spectra of far-off quasars or active galactic nuclei. Known as the Big Ring, the galaxies and galaxy clusters within it left behind distinctive magnesium ion absorption lines, which presented another puzzle to the scientific community. The cosmic Big Ring is 4.3 billion light-years in circumference and 1.3 billion light-years in diameter overall. It would occupy as much space in the night sky as 15 nearby full moons if it could be viewed with the unaided eye or through telescopes. Unfortunately, we are deprived of this exceptional view since the structure, located approximately 9.2 billion light-years away, is too faint for this. However, from a strictly technical perspective, how do scientists respond to these surprising findings? Put otherwise, how do you handle two structures that are blatantly at odds with how we often think about the distribution of matter in the universe? The largest cosmic scale is thought to be 1.2 billion light-years in theory. But in both situations, this maximum size is obviously exceeded. The fact that the giant arc and the Big Ring are situated in the same region of the sky is even more unexpected. In specifics, the enormous constructions are just around 12 degrees apart and roughly the same age. This begs the intriguing but unlikely to be resolved question of whether the cosmic neighbors were formerly a part of a single, even larger connection. After all, astronomers have only been able to make educated guesses thus far regarding the precise nature of the structures and the circumstances surrounding their genesis. According to one idea, the objects are linked to what are known as baryonic acoustic vibrations. This is the term used to describe the ring-shaped traces in the distribution of matter left by the leftovers of early cosmic density waves. However, these usually form a closed circle and have a radius of only 500 million light-years. However, the Big Ring is not affected by this, despite its name. Its shape is more akin to a corkscrew-like spiral, according to spectral analysis. The Big Bang itself is the starting point of a different explanation theory. The British scientist Roger Penrose believed that this was only the beginning of a new cosmic cycle, and not the beginning of everything. This suggests that rebirth and decline have always been in continual interaction across the universe. Penrose hypothesized, among other things, that giant rings are remnants of Hawking's radiation from earlier supermassive black holes, which would indicate this cyclical universe. However, string theorists are also attempting to enter the Big Ring. The influence of cosmic strings, or more specifically, the effects of incredibly thin, thread-like topological flaws in space that were created soon after the universe was created by the splitting of the fundamental forces, may be the cause of the monstrous construction's existence. The world's tiniest robots? The invention that follows isn't from a science fiction film. Insect-inspired researchers at Washington State University have created two little robots that will eventually help in search and rescue missions, pollinate plants, and keep an eye on their surroundings. The 55 mg Water Strider robot is nearly a heavyweight given that the Beetle only weighs 8 mg. In terms of speed, the tiny machines have to concede loss to actual insects, despite being the tiniest and quickest mini-robots in the world. An ant can go 3.6 km/h through the landscape, whereas the man-made products can only reach a top speed of 0.2 km/h. But in exchange, the robots have a secret that most creepy crawlies can only imagine. They are composed of a shape memory alloy that, when heated, enables them to remember their previous shape. Furthermore, the robots demonstrated the ability to lift almost 150 times their own weight in preliminary tests, demonstrating that we are dealing with true powerhouses. However, since this has only lasted a short while, the scientists still need to work on the energy supply. Do water batteries have a place in the future? They are less expensive, safer, and less likely to fail. Our traditional lead-acid or lithium-ion batteries may soon be obsolete thanks to new water batteries that an Australian research team unveiled a few months ago. In this instance, simple water that has been enhanced with additives like inorganic salts is what is still an organic electrolyte, like lithium. Additionally, the scientists constructed the new energy storage devices using naturally available materials like magnesium and zinc, which makes them much less harmful and much less expensive to manufacture. Using their tiny button batteries, the specialists have also been successful in resolving the dendritic issue. These crystal formations are so tiny that they can cause short circuits and grow in batteries. The specialists have applied a protective layer of bismuth, a rust-resistant metal, to the impacted parts of the water batteries to prevent dendritic development. That's not all, though. The batteries may also be securely disassembled, with the materials recovered or reused, according to study leader Tian Yama of the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. The water batteries might be utilized in solar cells in as little as 1 to 3 years, and their service life should be on par with that of lithium-ion batteries that are sold commercially. Retro, the rhesus monkey, is the latest in a line of healthy cloning and ethical questions that started with Dolly the sheep in 1996. In actuality, this is the first adult cloned member of its species. The primate was produced as part of the so-called somatic cell nuclear transfer (SCNT) process and was born in China on July 16, 2020. In this procedure, the nucleus of the animal that scientists want to clone is substituted for the nucleus of an egg cell. In addition to Dolly, other animals created using this method include cows, mice, pigs, goats, rabbits, and even dogs. For the first time, the Chinese research team that developed Retro was able to successfully clone and maintain 2 long-tailed macaques in 2018. But up until that point, efforts to work with rhesus macaques had always been futile. The handful that had survived typically passed away within a few days. The scientists claim that Retro's continued success on this list is the result of a unique method. Using trophoblasts, they had previously created by artificial insemination, the researchers replaced the trophoblasts in the embryo, the cell layer that attaches to the uterine lining and eventually forms the fetal component of the placenta. 13 rhesus monkey embryos that the specialists cloned were subsequently inserted into the bodies of female rhesus monkeys. 2 of these cases resulted in pregnancy. Retro was not the only twin to grow yet pass away before birth. However, what is considered a technological triumph on the one hand is also at the center of a basic ethical discussion. How far can cloning be taken? Because of their biological resemblance to humans, researchers are very interested in rhesus monkeys. Many medications are tested on these animals before being approved. But could we eventually be breeding humans in a lab as a result of the monkey cloning experiments? At any rate, not in our nation. The Embryo Protection Act in Germany officially prohibits this. However, cloning monkeys is theoretically permitted in this nation. It is quite another question whether the advantages for human treatment would outweigh the unimaginable anguish endured by animals. The earliest known black hole is a galaxy Wolverine that is 400 million years after the Big Bang and presents a significant challenge to astronomers. Despite weighing over 1 million solar masses, the object really consumes a lot more than it ought to. Astronomers, led by Roberto Maolino of the University of Cambridge, had already been interested in the far-off galaxy GNZ11 because of its extraordinary brightness in Hubble telescope photographs. Using Webb's near-spec spectrometer, the researchers closely examined the structure to determine the backdrop to the surprising luminosity and identified an active black hole based on the spectral lines. But given its incredible size for its early creation, it begs the question of how the Colossus could have expanded so quickly. The radiation from the early giant might hold the solution to this query. According to experts, its luminosity is equivalent to the extreme energy production of 1045 erg per second, meaning it is 5 times more powerful than the so-called Eddington limit. The time since the Big Bang was actually too short for the formation of a black hole this big, and this is considered the natural limit for the accretion of matter onto a black hole in astrophysics. However, some scientists believe that super Eddington accretion might have occurred in such early objects for a considerable amount of time. But in such a scenario, the powerful radiation from the overactive galactic nucleus would be expected to propel a significant portion of the interstellar medium out of the galaxy, thereby stopping star generation. And sure enough, the scientists have found the first signs of a notable decline in GNZ11's star production rate. You are now free to locate the subscription button and guarantee a notable rise in the pace of community development. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe right away to ensure you never miss another thrilling video from us.